Peace. I just watched the ending to my third part of my life story, and I realized that bless you, Lucky. It ended with me talking about some sort of tangent about how from Thailand I learned that I want to pursue more of business or engineering, something that'll get me pretty much large sums of money, and that was kind of the start of it. And then it was dropping out of school this last Monday that was like, more importantly than that path is my spiritual path, and this new path that I've been taking, because I've been getting a lot of signs of like, take your own path, take a leap of faith, take a new path, the abundance will come when it comes. And I realized that I was kind of right with the whole path of being a teacher, that you gotta pursue what you love and what you care about. And if you do that, then the money comes. Then the abundance comes. So I'm doing that. I'm pursuing love. I'm pursuing passion. I'm pursuing everything I care about. And right now, it's just not linear algebra and professional writing. Those were the two classes I was taking up until last Monday. It's what I care about is how to be a helpful friend for Lucky, because he's a helpful guide for me. So I want to be just as helpful for him as he is for me already. And also, what else is it? Tarot reading, now medicine card reading, like my whole, honing in on spirituality. That's a passion of mine. I love spirit. I love tarot reading. I love these medicine cards. I love automatic writing. I love clairvoyance. I love clairaudience. I love claircognizance. Even though I only learned about these, like, I don't know, a few weeks ago or something. 2 weeks ago? 3? I don't even know. But it just feels like once you learn about it, you just feel like it's something that's been a part of you ever since you were born, and it's just like you just forgot, or you just thought it wasn't anything special, but it totally is. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. That's my whole spiritual journey. For a life story continuation, I've definitely skipped out on a lot of details. Like I said, I'm a timelines guy, so I sort of just gave you maybe like one timeline of myself, if that makes sense. I understand that all the aspects is in a sense one timeline, but you know, just as there are infinite timelines, all of them can be summed up into one giant beam, which is one timeline of infinity. So really, I did just describe one timeline, which, what did I even talk about throughout all of it? Let's see, it was about my spirituality, yeah, so that's kind of a bit of my spiritual timeline, if you were to just look at that on its own, but like, clearly my other life events, impacted that timeline too. Every timeline impacts another's timeline, so that's sort of how I see it. A really good example, this is going to make a lot of sense because I'm going to have to talk about this anyways to give my reasoning for why I dropped out, and I'm comfortable sharing why I dropped out, specifically to you, Mr. Scorpion. These are pretty much who the videos are for anyways, because you shared something pretty intimate with me. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and share this pretty intimate thing, I guess, with you. And that's, there's a number of reasons why I can do this. One, it's about my mom, and since it's about my mom, and two, my mom as a person is a very sharing person, so like, she wouldn't be offended or upset if she found out I talked about her life in any way. Unless if it was all terrible stuff, of course, then she would be pretty offended, but I'm not gonna do that. I had to have some water. I could pause, but I'm kind of lazy and I'm feeling the vibe, so. Pull up. And hopefully the music's not too loud because I'm about to turn it up more because I want to hear it. But to make sense of the timeline talk and why I dropped out, so growing up, a known fact, no, it's pretty much a fact, me and all my siblings, something we always knew about our mom was that one day she would die. And of course we know everybody dies at one point, but we really thought she was gonna die pretty much any day, or at least I did. There were a lot of times where friends would come over, and we'd be playing, and I would start getting angry and snapping and being mean and being like, that's not how you play, or like, no, I win, or like I would just throw a fit, and they'd be like confused as to why I'm being such a douche right now, or whatever it is, and then I'd break down crying, and they'd be like confused, and then I'd explain, sorry for snapping, like, my mom has pneumonia, like, it's rare to have that this many times, like, she might actually die this week. And then they'd be like, I'm sure your mom's fine. And then sure enough, my mom makes it through it. But then the next thing happens, or more tumors, or more forms of, like, pre-cancer, or actual whatever it is. And so there was always just sickness after sickness thrown at my mom's path. And so, yeah. That was kind of a whole timeline that I just ignored talking about through my life story, and that's its own thing. And then there's the whole, like, lots of manipulation tactics that come from her that make it very confusing as to what you're supposed to do. A lot of self-harm, too, where it's like, maybe a lot of the sickness is simply your fault, but there's also plenty that is not her fault whatsoever, and in a sense, even her own actions, like, can't completely be her fault, because they're all a lot to do with her own upbringing and her own timelines, and just like how terrible those timelines are, something that I'd rather not talk about, because that's not my life story, that's her life story. But to continue on, why I dropped out last Monday is that I just kind of had it. So basically she sort of collapsed, and a whole bunch of stuff was going on. Bottom line, pretty much she ended up in my arms, and came really, really close feeling to her dying in my arms, and she didn't, luckily. I'm very, very thankful that she is very much alive, and felt a lot better after that night, too. But yeah, it really felt like she almost died in my arms, and so there's a lot of sobbing, well, a lot of just crying on my end, and just everyone else, my dad and my brother just not really sure of what to do. My brother was a little better at handling the situation. My dad was awful at handling the situation. My mom's like crying out in pain and stuff, and he's like yelling like, get more towels, the water's too hot. And I'm just like, maybe turn up your volume a few more notches, that might help, yeah. And then he would laugh. I'm just like, I'm being sarcastic because I'm upset. Stop it. I was really irritated at him. And that he couldn't even pick up on the amount of pain she was in. He would constantly ask, like, is the cramping gone? And this gone? And that gone? And it's just like, to me it was just so, I could feel it. It's just so obvious that she's just trying to keep it into herself and act like she's not in pain. And that made it so much worse. But yeah, she ended up not dying in my arms. Woo! But yeah, then there was a lot of me standing and just like, I was just like there, and I was like, fuck this. Like, I can't do school right now. There was just a moment at, like, where I was there, and I was just like, I just started walking. I was like, that's it, I quit. And my dad's like, what? And I'm like, I quit school. And he storms up and he's following me to my room. I'm like, no, I'm doing it. He's like, what are you gonna do? You gonna get a job? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I just came up with this just now. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then he was angry, confused, and just walked away. And I was like, okay, well, I disappointed him again. Whoops. There I go again. I do that often, actually. But yeah, that's sort of why I dropped out, as well as what I was talking about on my spiritual path. But clearly there's many other aspects that have to do with it. But now that I got that out of the way, that's pretty much my whole story. Yeah, that's my spiritual journey. Other than telling specific stories of like, this happened or that happened and this reading said this, or going out in nature and seeing these signs meant that, other than like literally telling you my experiences, for the most part, this is pretty much my journey. But if you want an incredible story, that would be me and Susie. Still keeping his name to myself, but just because, again, confidentiality. Like, I just don't know how comfortable you'd be with that. It's different than my friends and family, who I still kind of try to avoid names from time to time, but with them, at least, like, I actually have this, like, pretty much agreement, aka connection, where we're still in each other's lives. Right now, this Susie person and I, we never got close enough for me to know what he is or is not comfortable with, or if maybe I'm seen as a stalker to him. At this point, I no longer feel that way. I no longer think that I make him uncomfortable or creep him out or any of that sort of stuff. I think whatever we experienced was very much real, and that I'm okay with the outcome now. And I was back then too, like when it was going on. By back then, I mean like even days ago or weeks ago. This has been a process, but yeah, to start, so I met him in the winter term. Before that is fall term. So at fall term, I was taking Engineering 101, and I was forced to do this project where you have to build a car and do all this stuff. And the project consists of 3 to 4 group members, and I was paired up. Just these people turned around and was like, "Hey, you want to work with us?" And I said, "Sure." Because I had no other group members around me, so we were kind of the last people, so I was like, this is my only option, so yes. And the first week, my self-esteem started crumpling. I almost dropped the class because I was like, I don't know how to build cars, and these 3 people in my group, they all have engineering experience. It was just me. But then there was a moment, like an epiphany, where I was like, wait, I can type. I can make analysis. And I like did the entire project, like the analysis aspect of it, and that helped us get an A in it. And so we all felt kind of connected, and they said, hey, we're going to be taking these classes next term. If you're interested, these are the CRNs. And I was like, hell yeah. And so I took physics with them, and sure enough, by going out on basically a leap of faith and being friends with these people, I ended up in physics class with them. And so that was on Tuesday, but Monday came around. So I'm back in winter term. Beginning of winter term starts. Monday happens, and I meet a lot of people on the first day of class on Monday. And this is the first time ever. So engineering term, I did not introduce myself really to anybody except for one person who sat next to me, Kendra, and she was really cool, and then the group members. So I talked to a total of like 5 people in that class. But, you know, as my spirituality grew, you know, at the end of fall term became January. And January, as you know, was the whole tarot card and everything else, dating, my ex and everything. And third eye meditation, all these things taught me to open myself out and pour my heart back out into the world and let myself really connect back out in nature. And if I'm in a car and I want to dance, like, and I want to stare at a person, or if I want to stare past a person to look at the view, I'm not going to let my fear of people stop me from doing that anymore. I'm going to let myself be myself, you know? And so that was a huge thing for me. So the first day of class comes around Monday, and I'm able to talk to people. I'm like next to these people, and I'm just, hey, I'm Sun. This person, he's like, oh, I'm Josh. And I was like, okay, cool. And I introduced myself to whoever. That was Monday. Tuesday came around in physics class, and I'm not sure where to sit. I get there 10 minutes late, and I see the 2 people from my last engineering class. I don't mind sharing their names for some reason, but Alex and Jackson, they're such cool people, by the way. I'm so thankful I met them. Very helpful group members. I feel kind of bad because I was not helpful for them in this physics class. I kind of got involved too much with this Susie person. But upon walking into class, I see them like, hey, and I'm like, oh, hey guys, and so I go to like walk over, and so they're here, and then I sit here, and then right next to me. So basically, there's 4 seats. And this is the only empty seat next to Jackson and Alex, and there's Susie basically. So I sit there, and I like think to myself, I didn't even notice. I did notice him, but I didn't think much of it yet. I was just like, you know what? I've been social. I've been introducing myself to people like all Monday, and I'm on Tuesday, I'm on a roll. So I turn, and I'm like, either I like compliment his watch first, or I straight up introduce myself. But I'm like, I don't remember which one I did first, but let's just go with this. I was like, hey, or, yeah, I don't know how I would have just like introduced myself. So I was probably like, hey, cool watch. And he's like, thanks, I got it for like $9. And I was like, nice. and then I guess I was like, I'm Sun, and he's like, oh, you know, I'm Susie, and we shook hands. I was like, cool introduction, and like just something about him, and like the way he smiled, and just the way he looked, I was just like, it's like instantly, I was like, this person is attractive to me. Wow, this person is cute. That's like something my brain just knew when I like talked to him and heard his voice and saw his smile, just everything. That the moment we finally like did the introduction, it was just like, damn, this song. If he loves me, why doesn't he say a thing? Wait a second, he did in his own way. He didn't say the specifics, but he at least got back to me, and I feel happy knowing just that much is enough. Sorry, I got off topic, but yeah, so upon meeting him, that's pretty much how I felt, and it was the weirdest thing, and I was like, why am I making notice that this person's cute? Even the person I dated, like they're attractive, yes, like, but I think everyone's attractive. That's the thing. It's like, I like everybody is how I thought of it before. I used to think once you build up a relationship and get to know a person, a friendship blossoms into a significant other, into a relationship. That's how I viewed relationships before I met Susie and before I instantly got that attraction, where I was like, oh, that's how you know when you're attracted to a person. You know. And I just did not ever know that before with any guy, girl, like, gender fluid, whoever. Just, that never hit me so hard in my life. I was just confused on the first day. I was confused. I was like, why am I paying notice to the way they look? I've never done that really before. And we pretty much didn't talk at all after that. There was one moment where a math problem came up in the class, and I noticed that he also didn't take out a calculator like a lot of people, and like just like me, you just logic it out and figure out the math, and like it was just so cute seeing how we're like so different but so similar. Because, for example, he got the problem wrong, not because he isn't able to do mental math, but because he did it so quick. I could tell he jumps the gun. It's like yin and yang. Like my form of doing math is like, I go so slow and like really rearrange the numbers in my head and make sure I get what I get. I still get it wrong sometimes too, you know, that of course, but like I am very thorough. But he's very quick and just like, I know these numbers, probably sort of thing. Like, okay, 7 times 3, 20, like 5 plus 4, 12, like quick, fast, combine the numbers, and he's like, 50, that's the number. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's 47.3, you know? Like, I get it exact, and like he would get more like an approximate if I were to like compare our forms of math. So it's like, one is no better than the other. Both are kind of necessary to combine into creating two puzzle pieces that fit perfectly, is how I felt on the first day. But I didn't put it that way in my own head. I was just like, got a glimpse of that, where I was just like, why do I feel like I know this person or that we've met before? When I know we haven't. I know I've never met this person before, ever. But they seem so familiar, and I just could not put my finger on it. And just time passed as the more I talked with them, the crazier things got. But I pretty much didn't talk to them for about a week and a half. And Friday comes around, and it's also because, yeah, so Friday comes around, and I get my head shaved by my friends Kim and Kaden, yeah, my brother and Charles' girlfriend. And so they shave my head, and I feel very freeing. I love it. I feel great. And this song called The Middle, I'll just put it on right now, and you'll hear the lyrics. So part of it, it's really just the beginning that like resonated with me. But so this song just came up into my playlist on its own, like in the middle of me like getting the feels about Susie. Are you doing fine? Friday.
Wanna help my worlds collide. Let's make a bow with all cut ties.
Do you want his number?
Or shall I be the one to...
And so the rest kind of goes on. Well, yeah, I'll just go back to this playlist. And so, yeah. I want a good song. Yeah, Ways of Nature. So I fear that this video is going to be cut off short. So I'm going to go ahead and send it to my computer and make a 5th part. And I promise the 5th part will just be all about pretty much my own love story. And that should be all of my life story parts. This might just be like a segment of my whole channel where there will be like 1,000,000 parts one day. Yeah, I might just vlog my whole life as I go, or whatever it is I want to talk about that I feel like continues this, I guess, YouTube timeline of myself, where I get everything sorted out, and maybe one day all versions of myself will be out there on my channel, which I would feel good about. I am a big believer of sharing, sometimes too much. I sometimes share too much, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and make a 5th part now since I have plenty of time today. I will see whoever in a bit. See ya. And thank you.